Okay, here is a quick look at Germany's special abilities, and they are fairly crucial to understand because if you use them properly, it can be a devastating maneuver for Germany. So in my old video I told you about the Blitz, and any country that has tanks and medium armor, and mechanized and fighters and tactical bombers, you can do an additional attack after you've won a particular attack. Okay, so the way that goes is very simply this. They could attack the Netherlands here with this mess of guys, and we'll say they took it. All good for them. And if they're smart, they'll leave a couple infantry behind so that they can use them as fodder on the next battle. Alright, so these guys go into the Netherlands with that arty. And then these guys here can carry on. Now the bomber cannot. Bombers cannot blitz. Okay, so the bomber, he's done. He's had his time. These men here didn't fight in the Netherlands, so now they're going to attack Belgium. Okay, so this is a second attack, and this is considered a blitz by these guys because they're all in the Netherlands. So they're coming through, and we'll say that they won that. Good for them. Okay, so that's all fine and dandy. These guys all fly home. Great. So that's a typical blitz. It's just straight out of the rule book. Anybody can do that, no problem. Germany, though, gets a bit of a bonus because after you've done your combat, we have a non-combat move, right? So we're going to take the stack of tanks from Sudetenland and we're going to move them right on over here to Western Germany. Okay? And now we're going to go at Picardy. Alright? So we're going to say that, hey, they win. Maybe they go through unscathed. That's all fine and dandy. These tanks came in because they get to do, so that was their non-combat movement, and then their combat movement they can go to. They come into Picardy, they take that. And now Germany's special thing comes in. They could use just a typical blitz if they wanted to. They actually can use it, but not could. They will use their typical blitz because this is their second impulse, if you will. With the 1939 games, just they put on their build and they do a second attack. But in this game, they don't put on their build. It's just in on this one turn they can do this, where everybody who attacked already, and even if they did a blitz, they can attack and do another blitz if they want. Okay, so that's what happened here. We attacked here and blitzed into Belgium. Now we're attacking here and blitzing into this. Okay, so attack Netherlands into Belgium, and then attacked from Belgium into Picardy, and now Picardy into Paris, and skirt right around the Maginot Line in one turn. Okay, now I didn't populate the board the way it is exactly, but I'm just showing you that that's how it can all happen. One thing I want to mention about the Maginot Line that I didn't before, I don't think I did, is that yes, all the infantry defends at a 7 for the first round. The forts give you is an abstract thing, so there are no actual forts that are giving you the bonus, but you do get 2 artillery at 6, the preemptive strike, their first strike ability at 6, pardon me. So they're not actually placed on there, that's why I forgot to mention it, but they give you 2 6s, first strike ability, obviously in the first round of combat there. Okay, so that's the German Lightning War special ability, and it's very important to know how that works. Again, remember with your blitzing, only the mechanized, the tanks, and then the tactical bomber and the fighter are able to blitz. But with their special ability, their Lightning War, everybody can do a second round of combat, moving, combat, and non-combat movement. Okay? After you've done your second round of it, okay, you then put on your build, and that build doesn't get to attack. It's unlike 1939 where you could dump 6-7 tanks in West Germany and then have them go take Paris. This is a little different. You got to use what you got at the start of your turn, but still it is possible to take Paris if you utilize this the correct way and you take out the Netherlands, take out Belgium at the same time. you're definitely bringing England into the war at this point. But hey, if you've got the horses to do it, and you probably have a whole bunch of U-boats out there having some fun, go for it. Also, we talked about it on the Soviet turn when they attack Russia, when Germany attacks Russia. All of the German land and air units are +1 to their attack, and the Soviet units are all -1. Oh, and by the way, this lightning war, up to and including July of 1940, you have to use it by. So you can't just sit back and relax, because the 1936 and the 1939 setup, Germany has a lot of options, but sitting still isn't one of them, because the countries around Germany together will be able to fight Germany if Germany doesn't get some Lebensraum going. So Germany, you got to get out there, get aggressive. Technologies. We all know and love the technologies, and if you are Germany, you get, starting in July of 1939, so before, you know, the real war had started, you get 1 free tech roll per turn. All right, now you can take as many tech rolls as you want, but only 1 per technology. So I think there's 12 technologies, so you can roll, you know, you can roll up to 12 times at $2 a roll. So the Germans, they get a freebie. It's only worth 2 IPP, but don't forget it. You get that free little boost, free tech roll for 2 IPP each turn. You can still only roll 1 dice per tech though, so if you get the heavy armor advancement, you can't then take your free one in the heavy armor advancement. You got to spread it around. Okay. And the last thing we're going to talk about is the Volkssturm. Volkssturm. I'm probably not saying that right. The People's Guard, the People's Stormtrooper, the People's Soldier. Basically, it's their militia for Germany. And like the Soviet militia, when they build militia, they can move around in Germany. Okay, they're built only in Germany, so you've only got your 4 territories there to build them in, or 5 if you include East Prussia. But they can move around in Germany, and you can rail them if you want to as well. Okay. The last thing is that most nations can't build medium armor or mechanized infantry until about July 1939. That's when they can do it, July 1939. Well, the Germans get to start building in July 1938. All right, so while you're watching the Germans pop down their panzers and their can't think of the word, Kampfwagen or something like that. Anyway, while they're popping down their mechanized infantry, you're stuck doing motorized infantry and horses. Okay, so I think you'll see a bit of a difference when the war starts too, with who's got the punch. And Germany's going to have an extra year to develop their armaments. So just get ready to see a lot of tank treads coming your way. Okay, so that's it for the German special abilities, but there's some really good ones there, so have fun with those. Not much for the Italians for special abilities, but they do have the ability to build their militia, which are their black shirts. And the black shirts can move and attack, unlike most militia can't move and initiate combat. The black shirts can. So there you go, nice and cheap, and you can bulk up the homeland as you wait for the Anzio beachhead to be opened up. And there you go. Okay, on with Japan now. And Japan's got some pretty interesting things. They also have a surprise attack, but they can only do it in one place. All right, not in a bunch of different places, and no extra attacks or anything like that. But essentially, all Japanese units do have the first strike ability. All of them. Alright, so if you're doing an amphibious assault, if you're attacking the navies, if you're doing an air battle, whatever, everything you got gets to shoot first, and you remove all the casualties. So it can be quite a devastating thing. And then when you do the next round, which will be actually the first round of combat, because up until then it's just shooting fish in a barrel, is all enemy units are -1 on the first round. Okay, after that everything evens out and away you go, but I suspect that after that first round there won't be much left to fight. Alright, the other thing is veteran infantry and fighters. Okay, so if you have a battle as Japan and you win, you can roll for infantry or cavalry or any fighters. Okay, fighters, not tactical bombers or tanks or anything like that. Okay, but infantry fighters, and cavalry, and you can turn them into veteran units. Okay? And the veteran units are pretty simple. They're just a +1 to their attack and defense. And it's the same as trying to promote the Soviet infantry to guards units. Is you will roll a die, a d12, and you need a 12. So if you roll and you get a 12, you can promote them. Now I have these handy dandy red ones that I use as veteran in mind. So if I, over a couple of rounds, rolled some 12s, these guys would be disappearing and be replaced by them. You might say, well, Kurt, I don't have those ones there. Well, you can do anything you want with the veteran troops or the guards. Picking up these is pretty cheap. You can buy some red infantry. You can paint them, or you can just throw these up here on like that and just say, okay, now he's a veteran troop, or this is a veteran fighter. Okay, and remember they're +1 to their attack and defense rolls. So again, not game changing, but adds some nice flavor, and it's something to look forward to after you win a battle. Remember, you got to win the battle. Now, if things aren't going too well for Japan, we know the kamikaze will come into play. So there's 3 sea zones where the kamikaze will come in, and that is in sea zone 56, sea zone 38, that's this one here, and sea zone 55. That's where Okinawa is. Okay. Now in those 3 zones, you get up to 2 kamikaze per turn. Now that's to a total of 6, okay, so it's not like you do 2 every round. And these are abstract in nature. You don't need to use your fighters. You just get 2 dice and you roll, okay? And you roll, and it's an attack of 7, so you got better than a 50% chance to get a hit. And if you get a 1 to a 5, you have target selection. So if you roll a 6 or a 7, the defender says, oh, you just hit my destroyer, or you just hit my cruiser. But if you get a 1 to a 5, then you start dropping carriers and the planes go with them. Okay, so remember that. 2 per turn, up to 2 per turn. You can use 1, you can use 2, but no more. And a total of 6. So just keep track of that in any way you want. You can write it down. You can get the little kamikaze tokens and use those. Okay, and just stack them up as you use them, or take them down as you use them. Okay. The other thing about Japan is their dug-in defense. Okay, in the home country and in Okinawa, their defense is +1. Okay, so all these units, all the infantry units, all land units, artillery, tanks, everything is +1 to defense. So on a D12, the infantry will be defending, will be defending at a 5. That's almost 50%. Okay, so you know, good chance to hit you. Okay. 5 out of 12, and it's pretty cheap defense for them. Their militia is even cheaper. Now militia only defended a 2, but now they're going to defend at a 3, so it's 25% chance to get a hit for $2. Okay, so you might face a lot of militia when you end up attacking Japan, and also Okinawa. Don't forget Okinawa is part of that song. Okay. Civilian defense. Okay, from January of 1945 on, or when America has 5 transports anywhere in the Pacific Ocean. Okay, so when you know America's tooling up for an invasion of your homeland, it's easy to get the civilians to mobilize. And from that point on, militia only costs 1 IPP. Okay, now the transports have to stay in the Pacific. So the American could be over here and he build a big fleet, and you say, hey, and you start building militia. But if he tails them off through here and takes them over to the Atlantic, that bonus cost, where it's down to 1 IPP per, is null and void. Okay, unless again the transports come back. So Japan, I doubt America's going to remind you of it, so keep your eyes on the prize there. Okay, count those transports, and anytime there's 5 in there, you can hire guys for $1 a piece, militia. Okay, and remember, with dug-in defense, they're defending at a 3 for $1. Okay. Now, once January 45 hits, it doesn't matter how many transports are in the Pacific. So if America has abandoned the Pacific, you can still build militia for $1 a piece if you want. Okay. But they're not going to be doing a lot for you because they're just kind of sitting around at home. All right. Now, the last couple things is destroyers. Japanese destroyers are handy-dandy things. They can actually act as transports for infantry. and so they can put on their infantry and take them. The rule book says that you can transport infantry class units on a destroyer. Okay, and so I see plural there, units. I don't know if that means you can put 2 on there, but it sounds like you can, because we know the Japanese loved using destroyers to get those troops moved around, and they could also defend them from sub-attack a little bit more easily. But while the destroyers are being used as transports, they're -1 to their attack and defense. So they go from a 4 to a 3 for most nations. That's what your destroyers are. So just be ready for that. And the last thing, and that's when you're transporting the infantry, okay? And you can actually use them for an amphibious assault that way. Okay, so you can dump them off on the shore. So that's all fine and dandy. But you're -1 to your attack and your defense. And people say, well, what about the bombard? Well, your bombard's a 1 and you're -1. Alright, so you won't be bombarding while you're dropping guys off. So keep that in mind. And the last thing for Japan is that it's the same as the UK island nation. I won't repeat it too much except to say this one's a lot easier. If you can get 3 allied warships here and 3 allied warships here, the only money Japan's going to make is the 2 and the 4 and the 1. Okay, they're only going to make $7 because you've cut everything else off. You have now blockaded them on their island. $7 a turn. They'll probably be building 7 militia if they have enough factory production to do it. Okay, there's Japan. And I'll just tack on a final note here that, again, if you've blockaded Japan and you've got 3 warships here, 3 warships here, this sub doing the convoy rating for this line here, the Tokyo line, for $5, it's totally ineffectual because it's $5 represented by overseas holdings, and all they're collecting is what's in here, and you can't blockade that with a submarine. Alright, well, thanks for watching, folks. I hope that this made sense. There is a lot for each nation, but instead of worrying about knowing absolutely everything about everybody, make sure you know your stuff really, really well, and people you're going to run into. Know what they can do and what their limitations are, and that will allow you to steer the game in a direction you would like to see it go. Alright, well, until next time, hey, have yourselves a great day. Hug your family, tell them you love them, and may the dice be with you.